Chapter 8. The Vijayanagar and Bahmani Kingdoms. A quick glance. Vijayanagar Kingdom and its administration. Case study of Krishna Deva Rai. Economic and social conditions of Vijayanagar. Art and architecture of Vijayanagar, Hampi. Decline of Vijayanagar Kingdom. Bahmani Kingdom. Mahmud Gawan's contribution to Bahmani Kingdom. Administration of Bahmani Kingdom. Economic and social conditions of Bahmani Kingdom. Art and architecture of Bahmani Kingdom, Gol Gumbaz. Decline of Bahmani Kingdom. The disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate began during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq because of his grand plans and policies that could never be carried out properly or implemented and resulted in a great loss to the empire's treasury, leading to economic and political turmoil. The discontentment among the general populace gave rise to revolts in many parts of the empire. Many regional kingdoms broke away and declared their autonomy. North India was in a state of complete political turmoil, and the territories that broke away from the Delhi Sultanate included Mewar, Malwa, Gujarat, Jaunpur, Bengal, the Ahom kingdoms and Kashmir. Taking advantage of these chaotic conditions, two powerful kingdoms arose in South India. They were the Bahmani kingdom and Vijayanagar kingdom, under whose control the southern region of the Indian subcontinent witnessed stability and peace. Vijayanagar Kingdom. The Vijayanagar Kingdom was located in the Deccan in peninsular and southern India. It was founded by Harihara and Pakka Rai in 1336 CE. They were sons of Sangama, an official of the Hoysala rulers of Dwara Samudra. As such, their dynasty was called Sangama dynasty. They named the empire after its capital city Vijayanagar, located on the banks of the river Tungabhadra in Karnataka, which is now called Hampi. Vijayanagar became the greatest empire of southern India. The three dynasties that ruled over Vijayanagar were Sangama, Saluva and Tuluva dynasties. Deva Raya II 1422 CE to 1446 CE is considered to be the most important ruler of the Sangama dynasty. He added military archers in his army and was the first ruler of Vijayanagar to collect tributes from Ceylon, modern-day Sri Lanka. Sangama dynasty became weak after his death. The last ruler of this dynasty, Virupaksha Rai, was dethroned by his commander Saluva Narasimha Rai I, who started the Saluva dynasty. The greatest ruler of the Saluva dynasty was Narasimha Rai II. After his death, Veera Narasimha was installed on the throne by his father, Narasa Nayaka. He started the Tuluva dynasty. After the death of Veera Narasimha, the Prime Minister Thimmurasu put Krishna Deva Rai on the throne, who ruled from 1509 CE to 1529 CE and became one of the greatest rulers of the Tuluva dynasty. Case study. Krishna Deva Rai. Krishna Deva Raya was the greatest and the most famous ruler not only of the Vijayanagar Empire but also of the entire medieval India. He took his empire to its zenith, and during his reign, Vijayanagar reached its peak of glory. He was given the title of Andhra Bhoja, Muru Raira and Kannada Rajya Ramana. He was a great commander and efficient administrator whose reign was characterized by expansion and consolidation. He subdued local rulers and won many battles. He conquered and annexed the Raichur Doab. He defeated the rulers of Bijapur and destroyed the fort of Gulbarga. He fought against the Kalingas and stretched his empire up to Odisha, present-day Odisha, in the east. His empire included all the regions south of river Krishna. Krishna Deva Rai maintained friendly relations with the Portuguese traders who had a great influence on the Malabar coast. He concluded a treaty with the Portuguese governor of that time and allowed them to fortify Bhatkal on the western coast and to capture Goa from the sultans of Bijapur. In return, he obtained guns and horses from the Portuguese for his army and used their expertise in improving the water supply system of his empire. Moreover, ties with the Portuguese traders promoted trade in his empire. He was a great patron of art and literature, and he himself was a scholar of Sanskrit and Telugu. He authored Amukta Malyada in Telugu language, which elaborates how a king should rule. 8 eminent scholars called Ashtadiggaja were at his court. These included Allasani Pedana, the great Telugu poet, and Sanskrit scholars like Sayana and Madhava. His reign is considered to be the golden age of Telugu literature. Krishna Deva Rai was a staunch worshipper of Vishnu and his avatars. He built many elaborate temples such as Vittala Temple, Krishna, and Hazara Rama Temple, the eastern gateway of the Pamapati Temple, and the monolithic statue of Lord Narasimha. He also built the town of Hospet. He promoted agriculture by taking steps to improve irrigation facilities. He built the Basavanna irrigation channel and also got a dam constructed on the river Tungabhadra at Vallabhapuram. Under his reign, Vijayanagar Empire became an important center of learning, art and culture. Krishna Deva Raya received a nervous breakdown due to the health of his son and he died in 1529. Administration of Vijayanagar Kingdom. Traditional monarchy was followed in the Vijayanagar Empire, where the king called Raya was the ultimate authority and also the supreme commander of the army. He was assisted by a council of ministers in his day-to-day administration. The commander of the army was called Nayaka, who was given an area for administration called Amara Nayaka. He was responsible for expanding agriculture activities in his area. He collected taxes in his area and with this income maintained the army, horses, elephants and weapons of warfare which he had to supply to the Raya or king whenever needed. They sent tribute annually to the king and also appeared personally in the royal court to express their loyalty. Economic conditions. The main source of income of the empire was land revenue, which varied from 1/3 to 1/6 of the total produce depending upon the location and fertility of the land. Taxes were also imposed on grazing. Apart from this, huge amount of revenue was also earned by the imposition of taxes and duties on inland and foreign trade. The chief items of export were spices, coconut, rice, iron, sandalwood, sugar, and betel nuts. The main items of import were ivory, horses, silk, and velvet. The large number of gold, silver, and copper coins issued by the rulers showed that the empire was very social conditions. The rulers were Hindus but were tolerant towards other religions. The society was dominated by religious customs and traditions. The caste systems of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras was rigidly followed. The Brahmins had a high social status. The society in the Vijayanagar Empire was divided into 3 classes. The nobles were the most powerful class who lived in a life of luxury. The traders and artisans formed the middle class. The common people, mostly the peasants, were poor as they were burdened with paying heavy taxes. The women were respected and could hold high positions and participate in political and social activities. Polygamy, child marriage and the practice of sati existed. Devadasi or temple dancer system became more popular. Muslims were employed in the administration. They were allowed to build mosques and worship. Art and architecture. The rulers of the Vijayanagar Empire were great patrons of art, architecture and literature. They patronized Telugu, Tamil, Kannada and Sanskrit literature. We get a lot of information about the Vijayanagar Empire from the accounts of foreign travelers such as Abdur Razzaq from Persia and Domingo Pace from Portugal. Several excellent literary works ranging from religion, philosophy, fiction to music in regional and Sanskrit languages were produced. The rulers built several beautiful palaces, temples, and buildings which were adorned with marvelous sculptures and beautiful paintings. They used the Dravidian style of architecture combined with some unique features that came to be called Vijayanagar style. The Vijayanagar temples were characterized by ornate pillared marriage halls called Kalyana Mandapa and carved monumental towers at the entrance called Rayagopurams. They were decorated with life-sized figures of gods and goddesses. Music and dance also flourished in the temples. Many historians are of the opinion that Vijayanagar Empire was a golden age of culture and learning. Hampi. Hampi was the last capital of the last great Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar between the 14th and 16th centuries CE till it was conquered by the Confederacy of Deccan Muslim Sultans in 1565 CE. The foundation of Hampi was laid down by two local rulers, Harihara and Bakkarai. It was chosen by the Vijayanagar rulers as the capital because of its strategic location on the banks of the mighty river Tungabhadra and surrounded by a hilly terrain on the three sides. Hampi was the second largest city of the world after Beijing in 1500 CE. It was a flourishing city which was thronged by traders from Persia and Portugal. Its name was derived from the old name of river Tungabhadra, which was Pampa. So, the name Hampi is the anglicized version of Kannada name Hampe. Hampi had reached its prime during the reign of Krishna Deva Raya. The remains of Hampi's magnificent temples, palaces, forts and gateways tell us a lot about the excellent architectures of those times. Moreover, we get a lot of information about the magnificence of this ancient city from the accounts of the traders, scholars and travelers from Persia, Portugal, etc. The remains of ceramic potteries excavated from certain areas of Hampi prove that the history of Hampi dates back to the 2nd and 3rd century CE. In the mythological text, Hampi has been known by different names such as Pampa Kshetra, Kishkinda Kshetra and Bhaskara Kshetra. All these names were also derived from the ancient name of river Tungabhadra. The ruins of Hampi were discovered by an engineer and antiquarian named Colonel Colin Mackenzie, who was an employee of the East India Company. Many architectural remains have been found in this place. These include the military fortifications and defensive gateways constructed of massive granite slabs and palace structures. There are also the courtly pavilions and elephant stables, many with Sultanate style of arts, domes and vaults, wall temple complexes with shrines, columned halls and towered gateways. These structures were built with stones, bricks, plaster and wood, but only the masonry portion survived. Some of these have been found in recent excavation. These sites are distributed over an area of 25 square kilometer divided into discrete zones. There is a walled urban core in which the bulk of the city's population was located. There is also a smaller walled royal center inside the urban core containing the principal ceremonial and residential structures associated with the Vijayanagar kings. These were the sacred centers located on the southern banks of the river Tungabhadra. There is also a host of lesser religious structures, mosques and tombs of the Muslim inhabitants of the city. Some famous temples of Hampi are Virupaksha Temple, Vittala Temple, Achyutraya Temple, Hazara Rama Temple, Krishna Temple, Kondarmala Temple, and Pattabhirama Temple. There are more than 30 small temples in Hemkutta Hills, which lies between the Virupaksha Temple in the north and the Krishna Temple in the south. The Hemkutta Hills also have two monolithic statues of Lord Ganesha, the Kadale Kalu Ganesha and Sasive Kalu Ganesha. The rulers of Hampi had developed a well-structured system for moving fresh water to the temples and storing it. Several elephant stables were also built in Hampi that were used by the rulers of those times. Hampi, also called the City of Ruins, was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2003. Decline of Vijayanagar Kingdom. After the death of Krishna Deva Rai, the empire was under great political instability. The empire was attacked by the Bahmani Confederacy, made up of the combined forces of Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Berar, Golconda, and Bidar. The battle was called the Battle of Talai Kota, fought in 1565 CE between Rama Raya and the allied forces. Rama Raya was defeated and he was imprisoned and executed. The city of Vijayanagar was destroyed and the glory of Vijayanagar Empire came to an end. However, the Vijayanagar kingdom existed under the Aravidu dynasty for about another century. Bahmani Kingdom. The Bahmani Kingdom was founded in 1347 CE by Alauddin Hassan, an official of Muhammad bin Tughlaq in the Deccan. He took the title of Alauddin Bahman Shah after ascending the throne. The Bahmani kingdom covered the entire northern Deccan and dominated the political activities of South India for about 150 years. Alauddin Bahman Shah made his capital at Gulbarga. He established peace in his kingdom by successfully controlling the rebellious nobles. He divided his kingdom into 4 provinces: Berar, Bidar, Daulatabad and Gulbarga. Each province was placed under the administration of the governor, who had to maintain his own army and was empowered to take his own decisions in army and civil matters. Overseas trade prospered under his reign when he conquered Dabul, an important port on the western coast. Rivalry with the Vijayanagar kingdom over the fertile region of Raichur Doab started from his period and continued till 1565 CE, when finally Vijayanagar was defeated. The Bahmani kingdom was ruled by 18 rulers between 1347 CE and 1527 CE. They had to constantly fight against the rulers of the neighboring Vijayanagar Empire for the control of the Deccan. During the reign of the 9th Bahmani ruler Ahmad Shah, the Bahmani kingdom's capital was shifted to Bidar in 1425 CE. During his reign, the kingdom was weakened due to constant conflicts between the nobles of Deccan origin and those of the Arabian, Persian and Turkish origin. Mahmud Gawan, also known as Khwaja Mahmud Gilani, was an important noble of the Bahmani kingdom. He was an able and loyal minister of the 13th Bahmani ruler, Shahabuddin Muhammad III, who ruled from 1463 CE to 1482 CE and served as his vizier. Mahmud Gawan was a Persian trader who arrived in India at the age of 42 and joined the Bahmani kingdom service. He was an able administrator under whom the Bahmani kingdom reached the peak of its power. He defeated the rulers of Konkan, Orissa, present-day Odisha, and Warangal, and captured the port of Goa from the Vijayanagar Empire. The acquisition of this port on the western coast of India increased the Bahmani kingdom's overseas trade with Iran and Iraq. Mahmud Gawan reorganized the revenue system and maintained a strong army. He built a madrasa at Bidar that was designed in the Persian style and attracted scholars from as far as Iran and Iraq. He gave scholarship to meritorious students. The Deccan nobles conspired against Mahmud Gawan and got him executed on charges of disloyalty in 1481 CE. After his death, the splendor of the Bahmani kingdom faded and it declined steadily. Eventually, it was divided into 5 Shahi Deccan kingdoms. They came to be known as Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar, Qutub Shahi of Golconda, Hyderabad, Barid Shahi of Bidar, Imad Shahi of Berar, and Adil Shahi of Bijapur. Administration of Bahmani Kingdom. The Bahmani rulers followed a feudal system of administration. Initially, during the reign of Bahman Shah, the entire kingdom was divided into four tarafs or provinces under the control of tarafdars or governors. The number of tarafs or provinces were increased from 4 to 8 as the kingdom expanded, and Mahmud Gawan served as a wazir or prime minister. Tarafdars or governors were responsible for collecting the income of the provinces and providing a part of it to the Sultan. They appointed all the civil and military authorities of their provinces and organized their provincial armies. Sometimes the Tarafdars were appointed as the Sultan's ministers. The Tarafs or provinces were divided into Sarkars, and Sarkars were further divided into Parganas, with villages as the lowest level of government for administrative purposes. The Sultan was the supreme authority of the kingdom with complete administrative, legislative, and judicial powers. However, the power and authority of the Sultan was constrained by the influence and advice of powerful nobles, ministers, and ulemas. The main minister in the Bahmani administration was called Wakil al-Sultanat. He was assisted by Amiri Jumla, Minister of Finance, Naziri Ashraf, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Amir-ul-Umara, Commander-in-Chief of Army, and Qazi, Judge. At the village level, there were the Patil, village headman, Kulkarni, village accountant, and the watchman. Economic conditions. The economic conditions of the Bahmani kingdom has been well portrayed in the writings of Nikitin, a Russian traveler who visited Deccan in the 15th century CE. Mahmud Gawan ensured a regular flow of income and checked corruption among the nobles by organizing a systematic measurement of land for deciding land revenue. With Dabul and Goa as important Bahmani ports, overseas trade flourished with Iran, Iraq, and other African ports. Bidar developed into a prosperous trading town. Horses were imported from Arabia, Persia, and Central Asia. Other items of trade were cloth, silk, and pepper. Social conditions. Bahmani sultans were mostly Sunnis. The Bahmani society was cosmopolitan in character with Muslims, Hindus, and Portuguese, forming the components of the society. Muslims of the Shia sect came to the Deccan mainly from Iran, Iraq, and Abyssinia. Multiple languages such as Persian, Marathi, Dakhini, or Proto-Urdu, Kannada, and Telugu were being spoken by different social groups. The Bahmanis followed a composite and tolerant culture which permitted the mingling of Hindu and Muslim traditions. The Abyssinians were called Habshis in the Bahmani language and were originally slaves, but they rose to prominence as bodyguards. Some of them were also promoted to the post of governors and divans, who in due course of time became rulers of their tarafs or provinces. The society was divided into three broad classes: nobles, merchants, mainly Hindus, and common people. The nobles lived a very luxurious life. The merchants formed the middle class, and the common population was poor. Sufi saints were highly honored by all. The society was dominated by males, and women were considered to be subordinate. However, women held a position of respect. They had to follow the Parda system as required by their religious beliefs. Polygamy was prevalent in the society. Art and architecture. The Bahmani rulers were great patrons of art, science, learning, and literature. Their courts were adorned with poets, scholars, and artists from Indian and foreign lands. The Urdu language flourished under their patronage, and they made Deccan a rich cultural center. Bahmani art and architecture were influenced by the style of Delhi Sultanate and Persian style. The cities of Bidar, Gulbarga, and Bijapur were the centers of civil architecture of the Bahmanis, where forts, palaces, mosques, madrasas, and tombs were built by the Bahmani rulers. The Charminar at Golconda, now Hyderabad, Jamia Masjid of Gulbarga, the Charminar of Daulatabad, the Madrasa at Bidar, the Golconda Fort and other beautiful forts of Faizabad and Gol Gumbaz at Bijapur are some of the most remarkable monuments of the Bahmani kingdom. Gol Gumbaz. Gol Gumbaz is the tomb of Muhammad Adil Shah of Bijapur. Its construction started in 1626 CE and was completed in 1656 CE. Built in the Deccan Indo-Islamic architectural style with dark grey basalt stone, it was designed by Yaqut of Dabul. It has a huge hemispherical dome on top of it, which is the second largest dome in the world, unsupported by pillars, next only to St. Peter Basilica in Rome. It is one of the largest single-structure chambers in the world, which covers an area of almost 1700 square meters. The monument has a square building and a circular drum over the top on which rests the majestic dome. Each wall of the tomb is of the same length, height and thickness. The height of the building rises over 200 feet with the drum and the dome. Each of the 4 octagonal towers around the Gol Gumbaz has stairs leading to a gallery at the top. A stone called Bijli Patthar hangs over the tomb's main entrance. It is a meteorite that fell to earth during Adil Shah's reign. It is said that this stone saves the tomb from lightning strikes. One of the most stunning characteristics of the tomb is its whispering gallery, where the faintest whispers can be heard from a great distance and the sound made inside echoes back 7 times. It is also known as Black Taj Mahal or Taj Mahal of South India. Decline. The Bahmani kingdom started declining after the execution of Mahmud Gawan on the orders of the Sultan. The nobles were in constant conflict among themselves, which finally led to the breakup of the empire in around 1527 CE. The first noble to claim his independence in 1517 CE was Ibrahim Adil Shah of Bijapur. After 1518 CE, the empire broke up into 5 independent kingdoms of Berar, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Golconda and Bidar. These independent kingdoms fought continuously among themselves and also with the Vijayanagar Empire. In due course of time, Bidar was annexed by Bijapur and Berar was annexed by Ahmednagar. Later on, the 3 surviving Bahmani kingdoms of Golconda, Ahmednagar and Bijapur were annexed by the Mughal Empire. Somewhere else in the world. Ayutthaya, the world's largest city in 1700 CE. The Ayutthaya kingdom was founded in 1351 CE by King Ramathibodi I, also known as Yuthong. Ayutthaya became the second capital of Siam in 1438 CE. The city was built on an island surrounded by 3 rivers, the Chao Phraya, the Pasak and the Lopburi. Ayutthaya was one of the world's largest and wealthiest cities with over 1 million inhabitants. A number of palaces and many marvelous temples were built. Architecture and art were influenced by neighboring empires as Sukhothai and Angkor, as well as China, Japan and several European countries. Ayutthaya was a center of international trade which brought a great deal of prosperity. It was home to an extensive trading port that attracted international merchants, many of whom were from Europe. Ayutthaya formed close trading links with China. Portugal was the first European nation to establish commercial contact with Ayutthaya in 1511 CE. Ayutthaya also attracted some notable foreigners like the Greek adventurer Constantine Falcon, French Jesuit missionary Father Guy Tracher, and English merchant George White. Ayutthaya was described as the Venice of the East by the Portuguese explorer Fernão Mendes Pinto. The city came to an end in 1767 CE when the Burmese army attacked and destroyed Ayutthaya, including most of its official records, art, and literature. The city's history had to be recreated from the accounts of foreign visitors and old maps. What is left of the former kingdom are the ruins contained in the 289-hectare Ayutthaya Historical Park, which was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1991. Glossary: Autonomy, independence or freedom. Doab, the area of land between two rivers. Cosmopolitan, containing people from all over the world. Polygamy, the practice of marrying multiple spouses. Hemispherical, having the shape of a half of a sphere. Antiquarian, one who collects or studies antiquities. Confederacy, a union of states with the same aim. Gopuram, gateways to temples. Recap: Vijayanagar kingdom was founded by Harihara and Bakkaraya in 1336 CE. Their dynasty was called Sangama dynasty. The three dynasties that ruled over Vijayanagar were Sangama, Saluva, and Tuluva dynasties. Krishna Deva Rai of the Tuluva dynasty was the most famous ruler not only of the Vijayanagar Empire but also of the entire medieval India. Hampi was the last capital of last Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar. Bahmani kingdom was founded by Alauddin Bahman Shah in 1347 CE. Bahmani kingdom reached the peak of its glory under the able administration of Wazir Mahmud Gawan. Gol Gumbaz has a huge hemispherical dome on top, which is the second largest dome in the world after St. Peter's Basilica.